Hello, it's Claire here, and welcome back to my 7-day free course on how to start an interior design or architecture business completely from scratch. And today we're up to day 4. So if you haven't seen the other days, we are working in a bit of a sequential system here. So please go back and watch the other ones before you watch this one. And also, I have this Notion dashboard that has been built out with all sorts of different additional articles and resources that accompany this free course. And they are not available if you are just watching this on YouTube. So if you are just on YouTube and you've just stumbled across this video, make sure to come and join my free community. So that free community is linked below, and inside the free community is where I have my 7-day free course hosted, and you can come through and you can click through and get all of the other resources and things, as well as the link to this Notion dashboard so that you can duplicate that into your Notion area if you want to, or you can just use it as a website like this, and you can move through and actually, click things off if you'd like to do that on the checklist as we go through. So that is the process that we're moving through. And as I said, we are up to day 4. We've done these other days in advance. And today what we're going to be looking at is branding and identity. And like I've done with the other few days, I am going to just do this as a bit of a live build, and we're going to do this checklist of things together. And so I can show you basically that it really doesn't take as long as you think it's going to do. And branding and identity, so brand colors and logos and all of that stuff, is something that people often get tripped up on and end up spending way too long on. It really doesn't matter that much. So I'll show you the quick and easy way to do this, and a way that will take you maybe a few more days if you want to spend a little bit of money on it, but none of this needs to cost any money if you don't want it to. So what we're going to use for our sort of free version, although you will need a paid Canva account to do the branding side of this, so it'll be a small fee, but essentially pretty free, is we are going to use Canva. So if you don't already use Canva, make sure to sign up for a Canva account, and we're going to build a brand kit inside Canva. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and we're going to use the business that we've started for Charlotte Blair. So Charlotte Blair's Studio, which is what we came up with the other day when we named our business. So I'm going to make Charlotte's branding and put it in as a brand kit inside Canva, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. So that's what we're going to work on as our first step. Now, the first thing is that we need to find Charlotte some brand colors. Now, what I like to do for that is to go to Pinterest, and I like to sort of search brand palettes, because brand colors, or let's have a look, brand color palette 2025, which is when I'm recording this, and just see what comes up, because generally you can find that, they've got some nice colors already put together, and then all you need to do is actually just steal that color palette and use it. So that first one actually didn't look too bad. This one doesn't look too bad. I like to have maybe 3 or 4 colors in a brand palette. You don't want to go overboard, because you really don't need that many. You just sort of need a dark color and a couple of lighter colors, and you're good to go pretty much. So in the interest of not taking too long, I guess we could go with something like this. I'm just trying to think what Charlotte's interior style would be. So that would be something to consider with your brand palette, that, if you tend to design in a particular way, you might like to consider that when you're choosing your brand colors. So this one might be okay. So what I might do is just take a screenshot of that, because it's got also helpfully there the hex codes. So you see these little numbers here. If you're not familiar with what those are, they're called the hex codes, and you can use those to enter that into Canva as your brand colors shortly. So so that will be good. So I've taken that screenshot, so I'll just put that there. But this can take as long as you want it to, but I think in the interest of just moving forward, that was probably fine. Or this one. I kind of like the blues. Do I like the blues? I don't know. It's probably fine. Let's just run with that. Okay, so I'm just, for the interest of moving forward, I'm going to pick that. You may like to spend a couple of extra minutes, but not many more minutes than that, choosing your own, considering yours will be more permanent than this pretend business that I'm making for Charlotte. So use Pinterest to find the brand color palettes that you like. Okay, font pairing is another one. So which fonts to use. So I've linked out to this article by Canva, which just has all sorts of different font combos that you can use. So again, sort of just go with one that feels right for you and run with that one, and then you can use these fonts in your brand palette when we get that far. But this one up here probably looked all right for Charlotte's brand. Maybe this one, Julia San 1. So I might just take, do I like that one? The other thing we can do is look at the website that we've created, because that one already has some fonts on it. Manage domain, publish your site, edit pages. So that sort of has this sort of look and feel, but we can change the fonts on this when we get this far, when we do our website in a few days. So maybe that's, I don't know, I don't love those fonts anyway. The fonts across Squarespace and Canva don't tend to be the same anyway, which kind of you can run into a few problems with that, but we'll do our best to avoid that problem by not doing anything to avoid the problem, just running into the problem when we run into the problem, basically. But I think we might just go with that first one I found, because I think that's probably fine. Where was that? All right, I might just take a picture of that. It kind of looks architectural, doesn't it, a little bit? So we'll just take a screenshot of that as well. So I've got that. Okay, so that's that, font pairings, and there's the article to go out and have a look for your own font pairings. All right, logo. So we're going to do, okay, actually I'm going to tell you two options. So you can make a logo in Canva. They're okay, and that's what I'm going to do for what I'm about to do, because it'll be fine for what I need. For a small fee, you could use a service like Fiverr or Upwork, and you could put in a design job and actually get someone to make your logo. That's what I did when I first started my little design corner business. And if you look at my logos, so these were created, not these, I adapted that, but this one, I mean, there's nothing fancy particularly about them. They were created on Fiverr 11 years ago, and I've used it for 11 years, and I paid what, $100 or something for it. Not very much. It started with a yellow corner because I had yellow in my branding when I first started, but I have since used Canva to actually make a new logo with the branding colors that I use now, which is more this muted sort of beigey color. So I retired this yellow many years ago now. And you can see I've kept track of what the color was in case I ever want to know, but that's the color that was in the yellow corner here when I first started with this logo. But you can create your own as well. And so this is what we're heading towards, just creating your brand palette that's got all your logos and colors and fonts and everything all in there. So that's what we're going to build out in a second. So yes, you can put a job up on Fiverr, put a job up on Upwork if you want to, and if you've got the funds for it. But otherwise, let's create Charlotte a logo, and I'll show you what sort of thing you can do for that. So we'll do logo. Oh, that's doing mine. Okay, go to logo and then have a look at their options. Now, don't forget that a lot of people use Canva. So if you are going to make a logo from within Canva, you want to make it, you want to change it enough that lots of other people don't have it. So I'm going to just open a few of these, except I can't open them in new. Here we go. Open. No, I'm going to have to open it and then I'm going to run out. So that one's sort of okay. The other thing is that this may end up giving you your fonts as well. So let's remember what our business is called. It's called Charlotte Blair Studio. So we've got more than 2 words. So we need to be able to fit 3 words and make it look okay. Charlotte Blair Studio. So I'm looking for something that sort of looks aesthetic. I've got to turn my heater off. I don't know if you could hear that, but if you could, that was my heater under the bed, under the table. Charlotte Blair Studio. That's a potential, I guess, isn't it? Can give it a try. Oh, it does open in a new one. So, like, I wonder what that would look like. Charlotte Blair Studio. I kind of think that looks all right, to be honest with you. Just change the size of it. kind of don't even mind the icon except that it's a wave, so we don't really need that. What could you use as the icon? You don't have to have an icon. I mean, we could even just do it without an icon. That's kind of a sort of neat and tidy. That's kind of all right, actually, isn't it, for what we're doing? Now, when you're making a logo, you're going to want a square option, which maybe will be a bit smaller for the square, but you're also going to want to resize this to have rectangular options as well, because there are times where you'll want to have a rectangular option. So probably if we were to run with this, which I'm tempted to, so what I would probably do is then resize this as a rectangle. So let's see, that's going to be a rectangle of sorts. Let's just see what size that comes out to just see how it looks. And again, you might want to spend a bit more time than a couple of minutes, but like I'm trying to show you that this stuff does not have to take a long time, and you can then just move on with your life and actually start getting clients, which is really the goal of what we're trying to do here. So then if I just like use this slider down below and make it a bit smaller, you can see what that's going to look like, which I don't think looks terrible, to be honest with you. So that's an option. I mean, I think that's as good as anything for the purposes of just showing you that it doesn't need to be very difficult. Then what I generally would do is actually just also make the reverse, because I'll probably have black and white as part of her colouring. So that's what it would look like on black with white, which I think also looks good. And then you can also do the reverse here and see how that looks, which also probably looks okay, which it does. So that's sort of what I would probably do, and I kind of think it's all right. The other thing you're going to need in terms of a logo is what's called a favicon. So a favicon, if you look at the top, how much of my thing can you see? Can you see here? These little icons here that appear at the top of the tabs, these are called a favicon. And basically it's just a little indicator of what website is on the tab. So you can see here, this is one of mine. That's my little design corner square. So my favicon is just the square without any writing in it. So we also need to make Charlotte a favicon. So I probably would do, if you had an icon that was part of your logo, you might turn just the icon into your favicon. But because we might be just going with Charlotte's name here, we might just go Charlotte Blair Studio or something. That looks kind of bad, doesn't it? Could do Charlotte Blair Studio like that. No, that looks kind of bad too. Could just do it like this. And the icon could just be that, and we could just bring it in a bit. It's just a bit weirdly spaced. So that's an option. And then that'll just sit CBS in the corner. Again, like, by the way, if you do get a job put together by someone on Fiverr or Upwork, make sure that you also get them to do a favicon for you. That can be part of the design brief. So you want a square logo, rectangular logo, a logo that can be used with a transparent background, because you will have needs for a transparent background logo, and a favicon as well. So I'm tempted to just run with that, because I don't need to spend a huge amount of time on this, because I'm just trying to sort of show you. I think this could end up being a bit small. Yeah, you can hardly see that when it's like small. So we might just make it a little bit bigger and make sure it fills the square, because then you'd at least, and then we might just delete that and redo it so that it's exactly the same. But this is what I call good enough, to be honest with you. And even if this was my business, this probably would be about as much time as I would spend on something like this, because you can always then upgrade the logo, because all we're trying to do at this point is get a working something up so that we can start working with clients. If you prove concept that you have a skill that people want, then you can change your logo and you can spend money on getting something much nicer put together. But for the moment, we just need to get something up and running so that we can actually point clients to something so that we can start making money. So I think this will be fine. So then rename this Charlotte Blair Studio and Charlotte Blair Studio Rectangle. Blair Studio in that size, that's fine. Okay, so that's probably fine. It looks a bit too similar to this, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I think you get the idea of what we have done there, and that is sufficient for what we need. So we've made her logo. So next thing, it's very noisy outside, so hopefully you can't hear that. The next thing is we are going to build our brand kit. So we now have our logo, which I'm going to just download both of these. And I'm going to download this one as well. Okay, and now what we're going to do is come into brand. Now this is one of the things that is what they call premium. So if you want to be able to access a brand kit, then you need to pay for Canva. Most of what I've just shown you how to do, you don't need to have a paid version for, but you do for this. So I'm going to add a new brand kit and we're going to call this Charlotte Blair Studio. I'm going to create that. Okay, we've just made the logo, so we're going to drop the logos in. Now, one of the other things I'm going to do is also just take a transparent version of the white logo, because then I can put that, oh, I didn't mean to do that. So to do that, I would go share and then go download and then click transparent background. And I'm just going to do current page, or it's actually just the first page. So transparent, and then we're going to do that page. And just take that as well. And I will do the same with the square one as well. So download, we'll take page, we'll take page 2 and we'll do transparent and take that. And then what we are going to do is go back here and then we're just going to drag all that into our logos here. So we've got the transparent one, we've got the other transparent one, we've got, oh, my neck's a bit sore. We've got these rectangular ones, drop those in, and we've got the first ones that we did, which was the square ones. Did we download those? Yes, there they are. Okay, so that includes our favicon and our other things. I think that looks all right, to be honest with you. Did I spell Charlotte's name? Charlotte Blair, yeah. Okay, so I think that actually looks all right. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is find that color palette that we had. So to do that, it might be better if I show you entire screen. Yep, because then you can see me open that. So we'll go to desktop, where I think that, okay, both of those can be opened. Now we might not use this font pairing because we might just borrow the fonts that we've just created in the logo. So I'll just stick this behind my head because you don't really need to worry. Because what we're going to do is just come into here, and it's already picked up black as being one of the colors. We also are going to then, yeah, we'll keep that. Okay, and then we'll keep that, and then we'll add white because that will be one of the colors, and then we'll add white. And then this is where I was talking about the hex codes. So where's that gone? So I'm going to pretend this is black and I'm going to pretend this is white. I think they're both just a tiny bit off, but we're going to just go with black and white. And then I'm going to take E6. No, we'll start with that gray color. So we'll go with hashtag 7D828A. And that's how you, oh, I didn't like that. That's because I entered the wrong thing. 7D828A. Okay, so there's that grey colour. So then I'm just going to copy that and we'll just put that here. Why have we got two versions of this? Let's just get rid of this. Delete palette. We only need one palette. Okay, so we've got that colour now. It's come in a little differently to what the screenshot is, but I still think it's an okay colour. Now, the other way that you can do this is to grab your pick a colour and just come over here and just pick it like that. So that's the other way of doing it. It's picked up a slightly different colour though, E9ACA, and this is E6D2C2. So depends if you're happy with that colour or you'd rather have it exactly as it's appearing there. Where did my thing go? There we go. So that's that one, and then I'm just going to pick them like that because it's so much easier. So where did my, hang on, I'm going to need to go back to my screen. There we go, and that. Okay, so we'll pick up this sort of aqua-y blue, and then we'll pick up whatever this is. We probably won't need that color. No, hang on, I don't want to do that. I want to pick this up, and then we need to add another one, and we need to pick up this one. Okay, and then that's our, no, you silly thing. Pick that up. Okay, so that's the color palette. I think this is probably redundant, but I'm just going to keep it there just in case the background on the website and stuff looks nice, just slightly off-white, like slightly not white. So I'm just going to keep it there for the moment. So that's that done. Now fonts, let's go back to where we were creating this because we can steal this Montserrat as one of our fonts. The heading can be Montserrat, title, font, Montserrat. Did I spell it wrong? Montserrat. There it is. So that'll be fine for title. Can make it a bit bigger for headings. You could make it bold. So whenever you select this as a heading in things that you create, this is what it'll pick up. But I might just take that and then just take subtitle as whatever this script font is that we used, because then I can just play around with them. Halimum. So Halimum. There it is. And that can be my script. So whenever I'm doing like text that I want to be able to see, I go with the Montserrat. And then whenever I want to do something a bit fancy, then I will use the Halimum. Now, Halimum's not super easy to read, but I don't think I'll use it an awful lot. So I quite like to have one like that and one like sort of scripty one. That's what I tend to do with my brands. And then that's that. Now you can go through and add these other items in if you want. If you have icons, I mean the icon, we could drag the favicon down to icons if we wanted to. If you have particular like branding photos of yourself and stuff, you can drop that in. And if you want to add in your brand voice about how you sort of like talk, then you can do that too. I always just think all of that's a bit of a waste of time, but you add in what you think would be useful there. And then we have made Charlotte's brand kit. So there it is, Charlotte Blair. And I'll just show you like with mine, it's very similar. I've obviously got a few more fonts and stuff, but I have like the scripty, the one for like normal writing, and then I've got a scripty one for whenever I want to do something like that. So just building exactly the same processes I've built over the years for all the different things that I've done. So that is that. So let's go back to I'll just go back to sharing this because it looks a bit nicer. And let's go back to our checklist. So we've now created our brand kit in Canva. All right, let's now talk a little bit about brand assets. I'm turning my heater on and off because I'm like get cold and then I get hot. Okay, let's talk about key brand assets. All right, let's discuss business cards. In my opinion, total waste of money. I just think they are absolutely not necessary. Lots of people are still quite old school and they still think that it's worth having a business card. I cannot tell you in the last 11 years when I last handed out a business card. So I personally think that it is absolutely unnecessary and save you money for something else like spending on your lawyer or your business insurance. But if you want to, you can now turn your assets into a business card. There are business card templates, I'm pretty sure, on Canva, so you'd be able to create it on here, and I'm pretty sure it even links with printers. So business card. So yeah, you can make a business card, but as I said, I really think it's a total waste of money, so I personally would not bother. The thing is, your digital footprint really is your business card these days. So instead of spending on business cards, think about investing in your digital footprint. So your Instagram page, your website, those are the things that people actually will look up. Most people don't want to be given a business card. So you're much better off even carrying around a QR code to your Instagram page and then making your Instagram page really, really good, because that's actually like a better modern business card, if you like. So personally, I think they're a waste of time and I wouldn't bother. The other thing I would like to talk to you about is email signatures. Now, I've spoken to you when we were talking about the emails themselves about how so many people are still emailing me with like mydesignstudio@gmail.com, which looks so bad. So you're not going to do that anymore, because back on day one, we got you your name at domain.com. So your domain, like professional looking email. Now, the same sort of thing goes for your email signature. Lots of designers, because they're creative, aesthetic people, they like to make flowery, photographic, big, beautiful email signatures. They look really bad across lots of different email platforms. Some of them come in like this, big in the email and it looks terrible. Some people put their photo in it, but then the photo is like super pixelated, so it actually ruins your brand rather than enhances it. So instead of doing that, you just need to do something simple. You don't even need to have your logo necessarily in your email signature. It really, really doesn't matter. You just need to say something like your name, your title, and maybe have email. Well, you don't need email because they're in the email, but I meant to say website and what your website is, and Instagram and what your Instagram handle is. That's all you need in an email signature, and maybe put it in bold or something like that. Just make it look a bit nice like that. So that's about everything that you need. If I come out of here so that I don't show you something I don't want to show you, I can show you what my Instagram signature looks like. Now, I'm not working as an interior designer anymore, but I used to have exactly the same when I was working as an interior designer. So I can come and show you because there are no emails, because I'm at email inbox 0 today, or at the moment, which is nice. So here you go. So that is my email signature. Very simple. Just my name in bold, director of the Little Design Corner. Here is the website. I don't even bother with Instagram. And here's just a one-liner about what I do. Courses, resources, and community for designers and architects. So you could be like Sydney-based interior designer, architect for family homes, like whatever. So you can have a little one-liner, but that is all I would do. I would not worry about these like fancy image-based email signatures because, as I said, like I see them come through and they really vary in how good or bad they look. And also some people just like, they sort of put their, this sounds bad, but they put their bad taste into their email signature. So you're actually going to put clients off even before because it sort of like doesn't look right. So just stick with simple. Simple is best. So something simple, don't use images, it's too over the top. Okay, the other thing that you might want to create in Canva is some branded templates for your social media. So I'll show you that for my Little Design Corner brand and what that looks like. I think maybe I showed it to you the other day, but I can't remember. So we'll have another look because I create so much content, I can't remember where I show things. It may not have been on this. So here are my templates, and I have like a very set structure for how I create my Instagram content. So it's very formalized, as you can see. And as you can see, the branding is very, very clear quite throughout all of my templates. So what I would suggest, and this is where I first set up different types of templates, is that you create some templates for carousels in particular. So to do that, let's make Charlotte a couple of carousels. So let's have a look, carousel Instagram, and see what it comes up with. Now I would choose something sort of simple looking and aesthetic looking, and we can then adapt it. It's going to be hard for me because I'm going to end up like choosing the sort of style that I like from my own already existing style, because that's like, we're all people, so we gravitate to the things we already like. So I'll try and choose something that's not quite as similar. I mean, I don't mind that, but I don't think that's the right look for an interior design studio. This just looks boring, like it's on Canva. Lots of them look boring, like they're on Canva. Again, it doesn't really matter, but it's good to set something up, and you could always build one from scratch. Now, Instagram, let's talk about the size of Instagram content at the moment. So it is not square. You need to create an Instagram carousel that is in the size of 1080 by 1350 pixels, not square, which is 1080 by 1080, because the Instagram feed, actually we'll go to my phone. The Instagram feed is not, most of you will know this, but the Instagram feed is not, oh, hang on, I've got to click the connect the source. No, we don't want that. We want Clare Cameo camera. No, hi. We want, doesn't want to find my phone. Okay, hang on, let's just disconnect it and set it up again. Okay, can you find me now? Yes. Okay. So, so the size here, you can see not long ago, Instagram changed the size of how the feed looks for posts and carousels to this 1080 by 1350 size. And lots of people have got caught out because they've created everything in square size. So make sure you don't create things in square size or you're going to end up with the wrong sizes on Instagram. So just to point that out. So let's go back to creating our templates. And I really just am going to basically pick anything. Let's just play with this one. We can probably make this one work. So I'm going to get rid of these ugly lines. Now the good news is we've got our brand set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to Charlotte's brand because now we've got her colors in here. So we're going to change to our font, which is this Montserrat, and then you can change all across the entire thing. So now we've got it all in the right font. I don't like that. So I'm going to get rid of that and have that. Now at the bottom, we're going to ungroup that. I might just make it say at Charlotte Blair Studio and then just make that a lot smaller. And we'll have that across every page. Okay, so I'll just copy that. And I hate these lines, so we're going to get rid of those on all of these. I don't need any of that for the minute. I'm going to add an arrow in because it does help people understand that it's a carousel and to keep scrolling, but that arrow looks way too Canva for my liking, so I'm just going to get rid of that. I hate that too. Okay, now we're going to take her thing and then we're just going to copy it onto each page. Missed that page. Okay. Now the aim of this is just to have a template ready to go because we're not going to make any content. So we now need to add her branding colors. So here are her branding colors. So we can just test a few things out. Way too dark. Yeah, kind of good. Kind of good. So this would be how, like when I was showing you my feed, you can see how I have the beige, which is my main color, but my light gray, like here, is one of my colors too. So that appears. And I've got a dark grey, but I don't use it terribly often. The way that I mix my feed up, as I think I've mentioned, is that I have the one carousel and then I have like a reel or something that's sort of photographic or whatever. There's that grey. Okay, this is a good example. So we've got the dark grey and we've got the light grey and we've got the beige sort of all sitting there. So you can see with your template here, what you might do is to create a version that's got this colour. Once you're happy with it, and let's say we're happy with it, then what I would do is I would file, make a copy, and then have a version. So then we'll call this one Charlotte Blair Studio Carousel Option 1, and then I'm going to copy that rather than have to type that. And then we'll call this one Option 2, and then what I'm going to do is to change the background of this one to this blue colour, and for some reason it's not letting me change it across all of it, which it really should. There we go, change all. So now it's all in the blue color. And then we might make one more copy. So not resize, make a copy. Actually, we could make two more copies in all the brand colors. So we could do now the that beigey color. And then you can see that like you vary the content and you vary the color and your feed starts to look like quite pretty. So we've changed that one, and then we might do a dark one as well. So this one's Option 3, and then we'll do one more, make a copy, and call this one Option 4. And what we might do is dark with the white writing, Option 4. So we'll change the background to the dark color, and then we'll do maybe white or even this like lighter color that we've got. So we are making use of that color. So this all needs to change all. So then you can change it across the entire thing in one click. And so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different options, and we would then create a folder. So we can do that too. So save to folder. How do I do that? It usually says save to folder and it doesn't say save to folder. So I don't know why it's not doing that and my neck hurts. Let's go out here, and what we're going to do is create the folder out here. So we're going to go home and we're going to go projects and we're going to go add new and we're going to do new folder, Charlotte Blair Studio, and then we're going to do continue. Now, I'm only doing it and calling it that because I have lots of things going on in my Canva account and this is just one tiny project. If this was your studio, what I would suggest you do is what I've done down here. So I'd have, you know, CBS Instagram templates, CBS photos, CBS, you know, whatever, like all the different brand, you know. So you would just have folders according to the different use cases rather than having one big thing for your for everything to do with what you're doing. But because this is just like a little example project for me, that's why I'm doing it this way. So then what I'm going to do is select all those and I'm just going to move to folder. As you can see down here, we've got move to folder, and I'm going to add them all to Charlotte Blair Studio, and then we'll open that folder and you'll see that everything's all in one place. And then you'll be able to see that we've got an example of, actually, sorry, go back to projects and we'll go to Charlotte Blair Studio. And then there's our templates. Now this one hasn't updated and that happens. So let's just refresh and see if it does. I don't know why that's doing that because as you can see, it's actually updated, but sometimes it takes a few minutes for it to update. So that is then our, and I think that must be our dark one, is it? Option 1, option 4. Yeah, they're all just taking some time to update because they're all incorrect. So they will update in time. So so that's that. So yep, so that's that step done. So let's go through. We have done our social media templates. Now you can do other different templates too. If you want to make covers for your reels, you can go through and do it in exactly the same process as I've just done there. So you can do like reel cover and just search in the templates and you'll find different reel cover templates. I personally don't like reel cover templates. I like to just have the reels displaying because I think, personally, I think that you get better, what am I showing you? There we go. I personally think that you get better traction and people watching if you just have the reels just sort of look raw, if you like, rather than have covers. I think they look a bit too staged and they don't encourage people to click in and look at them. So I prefer to keep my feed looking aesthetic, if you like, by doing this mix and match of like the carousels look quite nice and then it mixes in with the reels. I'm not saying my way is the right way. I'm just saying use your creative genius like you all have because you're all designers and do what is right for you, but that's just the way that I manage it. So yeah, if you do want to create reel covers, then you can do that. You can create story highlight covers. All of this we cover in much more detail inside Bootcamp. Have I mentioned Bootcamp today? Anyway, Design Business Bootcamp intro is my paid implementation program for designers and architects who want to actually take what we've started here, which is the very, very, very basics, and actually move into working with clients. So we start that program from actually working with clients. So this is all your pre-set up to all of that in terms of like all the stuff that needs to happen before that. But we then move into how you actually find clients, doing daily lead generation, doing daily content on Instagram, doing it the right way. And every single day I give you an exact prompt to use, an exact piece of content to make. I do all the hard, heavy lifting for you and an exact outreach task to do. And by the end, and then we also do a task to fix the back end of your business as well. So we work through all of the different phases of working with clients and we fix and set up templates and do all of that stuff in the back end so that you have a really smooth running business. Your clients love you because you seem so organized, because you will be so organized. And then you will also stop that like feast of famine that I see all the time with clients where they've got way too many clients one month and then not enough clients another month because they just aren't doing any consistent lead generation. So this stops that feast or famine because you will have a steady stream of clients in your pipeline and you will just constantly be generating more and more warm leads. So that's the whole purpose of Bootcamp. So that is linked below if you're interested in Bootcamp. Otherwise, let's just finish off our checklist for today. So invoice template, we actually spoke about that the other day. So that's appeared again in the list. I might even just delete that because we already covered that when we were back doing the what was it, foundations or finance and tax? Anyway, we've definitely covered that. And then other branded templates. So this is where my templates come in. So I can show you the different options. They're all available in my shop. So my shop is also linked below. All of the templates that I sell in my shop, so think fixtures and fittings, client onboarding, client welcome pack, design concept, handover packs, all sorts of things. They're all in my shop individually. But if you do join Bootcamp, which is what I was just showing you, we set all those templates up step by step. So I put the template into the right order in the right part of the process. So all of these templates are included for free as part of Bootcamp. So you can see the sort of value you get in Bootcamp. It's massively valuable when you see how much the templates are individually. Otherwise, heaps of people purchase the templates separately as well, which is totally fine. And then in Canva, like we've been playing around with just then, I can show you courses and templates. So here are all the templates. So then all you need to do is apply your branding to the templates, and you'd already have your brand kit set up. So you'd drag and drop, Charlotte's logo onto the template, change the font to her fonts, and then that doesn't look great, so maybe we won't stick with her thing, or we can just use her other font. Or we may even change her fonts because none of them look terrific. But anyway, as I'm saying, all I'm trying to say is that that's as easy. That's all you've got to do to be able to update them all. You can change the colors across the whole template for the entire document if you wanted to. I probably wouldn't turn it blue, but just to show you as an example how quick and easy that is once you've got that brand kit set up. So that's all of the templates that I sell so that you can update them and make them look really nice. And they are in my shop if they're of interest. Otherwise, as I said, we set them all up step by step in Bootcamp. So that's the templates. And then define your ideal client avatar. So this is an important step as well because you want to know who you're actually going after in terms of a client. So what kinds of clients are best? Who do you want to work with? Which clients have you found if you have already started working with clients, which most of you probably haven't if you're watching this, but which ones have been the best to work with? Who do you ideally want to be working with? Now, again, in Bootcamp, we have a lesson on this, but in Bootcamp, I don't give you go off and think about who the best client is. I actually tell you who the best client is. So I've worked with every type of client. So I tell you exactly who the most ideal clients are that will make you money and who are the best to work with. So there's a specific niche that we learn about, and I always not learn about because they're not a very secret. It's not like it's a secret. It's just that is the best niche that I think to work with. That will be the best one to go after. So in Bootcamp, that's what we do. But because you may not be in Bootcamp yet, another option of what you can do is inside the free community, which if you come in and take this free course inside my free community, I've got an an ideal client worksheet, which has a huge AI prompt as part of it. So this is just another free resource for you. So you can work through the questions in here in terms of who your ideal client is. And then at the end, you can see there's a really comprehensive prompt that you can put into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you like to use, and then that will help you to really understand your avatar so that you can create content that they like. You can be just speaking exactly to them, and just everything that you do basically will be talking to the right person. And then I show you how to use the avatar worksheet once you've completed it. So that link goes straight to that worksheet, and I would encourage you as part of the action steps for today to work through that worksheet to just make sure that you really understand your client avatar. So that is branding and identity in however long that's taken us, 43 minutes. So, many people, as I said, take days and days to try and get through what we've just done there. So it just needs to, you can see how fast I made decisions. And yes, were some of them maybe not going to be right? Like when I put in Charlotte's script cursive thing a minute ago, it didn't look great. So perhaps I'll change in her brand kit to something that looks a bit nicer, like a bit easier when I like a bit easier to read. But it doesn't mean that we have to change her logo, because the logo can just be standalone in terms of it doesn't have to match the logo. So that's branding and identity. So hopefully that was useful. Make sure you go through all the steps, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Tomorrow what we're going to be doing is creating your website. So we got that set up the other day, and now we're going to turn this into a very quick and easy website that does not cost you $10,000 like what lots of you go and do, and get that set up and ready to use. So that's tomorrow's task. But for today, finish off the action steps for there, and I will catch you tomorrow. Bye for now.